So because the Gospels are text, they necessarily use different genre. They're not going to just use be on the same kind of mode all the way through. Obviously, we have parables. We also have stories. Now, a parable is a story, but a parable is like a micro story that has a real punch to it and often leaves people thinking, what? What did he just say? What am I going to do with that? Whereas a story, it's a bit more obvious what you're going to do with it. And we sometimes use that language loosely, like the parable of the Good Samaritan. It's not really a parable, it's a story. It even has the three characters, like the three bears in Goldilocks. It's a traditional folklore-ish kind of story. There are also miracles. Most of them are healing miracles, but some of them are exorcisms, and some of them are nature miracles, stilling the storm, walking on the water, that kind of thing. And we also have, in each of certainly the three synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark and Luke, we have a little bit of apocalyptic as well. Mark 13 and the parallels are probably a self-contained little apocalypse which has been preserved by the early Christians and then used in the different Gospels. And of course in Matthew and Luke we have infancy stories, which are a very different kind of genre from Jesus goes to the synagogue, Jesus heals man with withered hand, Jesus goes fishing, whatever. The infancy stories are miraculous moments in the backstory as to how Jesus gets to be here. And when we get to John's Gospel, the dominant, there's hardly any parables, but the dominant genre is not so much dialogue as monologue. Jesus will give a long discourse, and it might go for a whole chapter or 2 chapters when it's just Jesus talking about himself. Whereas in Matthew, Mark and Luke, Jesus is not talking about himself, he's talking about the kingdom of God. And so there's a slightly different thematic focus as well as a different mix of genre in each of the Gospels, but particularly when you get to John.